So what is that plan? Well, tonight I will lay it out for you. A Joe Biden administration will pursue a radical restructuring of the entire world, the way you live your life. It's called the Great Reset. Capitalism will morph into something that resembles less of a free market and more akin to, it's been played before. It's National Socialism, crony capitalism. It's best being demonstrated today in China. It's Chinese capitalism. There's no real freedom there. It's all under the control of the Communist Party. They're calling it shareholder capitalism, but it has nothing to do with the market. I'll explain on tonight's program. This plan involves using the coronavirus and climate change as the disasters that force us into a great global reset. Biden's cabinet picks are already signaling that they are fully on board, and I will prove that to you tonight with their words and them on videotape talking about it. I warned you a few months ago about the Great Reset, and the mainstream media, you'll never guess what they did. They called me a conspiracy theorist to isolate me even more. I don't think it's working. I should be used to it by now. Remember all my wild conspiracies like 9/11 that I said would happen in New York City? That was in 1999. The 2008 financial crisis conspiracy theory, I was talking about that in 2006. Or how about the caliphate that will never happen? Oh, wait, it did. As a conspiracy theorist, I really suck because they seem to happen. This write-up from the New York Times was one of my favorites. Quote, "A baseless conspiracy theory about the coronavirus has found new life as cases surge once again." Wow, it's baseless. Now, you'd expect to read the article and get a full rebuttal on the points that I laid out on my show. It took me an hour. You don't have 20 minutes. You could write something down and say, hey, he has this part wrong, this part wrong. No, in that article, not one time did the New York Times address any of our concerns. Not once. All they did was attack anyone that was raising warnings. That's how the mainstream media works. This is how it carries water for the things that they want you distanced from. They attack people. They don't talk about ideas. Speaking of carrying water, while the Times writes hit pieces on people speaking out on the Great Reset, guess who's actively sitting on panels over at the World Economic Forum? Yes, that's right. Journalists. Journalists from the New York Times. We're going to come back to this specific panel a little later on the program. You don't want to miss it. How could they call it a conspiracy theory if he's on the panel? I want to show you now how the left and the media plan to pull wool over your eyes in the coming weeks and months. Everything they're going to do has to remain undercover or at least be discredited as some sort of conspiracy theory, because we are on the doorstep of this. But if America wakes up and they stand up against this, there is still time to stop it. But it is close. They'll begin by twisting the entire thing into some whacked out theory akin to, we got fluoride in our water and it's turning the frogs gay. Yeah. Well, get ready. You're going to see this spooky word cabal a few million times. Oh, and look, here it is. I can show it to you in the New York Times. Oh, and there it is in the Daily Beast and CapX. Oh, let's check the BBC. Oh, yep, there it is. Cabal. Let's stick with the BBC article here for a second, because it is a perfect example of what you're going to see as we start exposing what Joe Biden and global elites are planning to do. Check this out. Quote, "The baseless, again, conspiracy theory known as the Great Reset, which claims a group of world leaders orchestrated the pandemic to take control of the global economy." Now that sounds pretty nuts. And it would be if that was anything like what we said. But that's not what we said. We never said the World Economic Forum orchestrated the pandemic. They were waiting for the right thing to happen so they could rush in and save it. We pointed out, in our own words, they were planning on taking advantage of it. They did not create it. All the media has to do is simply go to the World Economic Forum's Great Reset webpage, God forbid, read for yourself. Or have you done that and you know, and you're just lying to the American people? On their website, they clearly spell out how they plan to use COVID to kick off fundamental changes to society and capitalism, aka the Great Reset, which is theirs. I showed you their academic papers that they've already begun to publish. Everything is there in black and white. We know the media obviously doesn't like to research and read, so why don't we just listen? There's the head of the World Economic Forum. His name is Klaus Schwab.
Now is the historical moment, the time, not only to fight severe virus, but to shape the system for the need for the post-corona era. But we have another choice. We can build a new social contract. In short, we need a great reset.
So I'm going to agree, actually, with the Times. They call us conspiracy theorists for saying this, and I want to agree that it would be a conspiracy if that's what we were saying. But this is no conspiracy, because they're not really hiding it. It's out, fully, open, in the public. Those aren't my words. Those are his words. He's saying those things at the World Economic Forum. They're not trying to hide it. Just politicians and the media. Now, isn't that odd? The ideologues are shouting it from the mountaintops, while the ones who want to profit off of the advantages are keeping it quiet. It's no wonder why you read through their documents that you see something entirely different than what the New York Times is telling you. It's insane. If you didn't see my last show on the Great Reset, I urge you to watch. This is happening. Shareholder capitalism, National Socialism, Chinese capitalism, whatever you want to call it. It's on a global scale, and it's what they're after. This entire article, written by the World Economic Forum back in 2016, quote, "Welcome to the year 2030. Welcome to my city," or should I say, our city. Remember, individuals will not exist. It's only the collective. It goes on. I don't own anything. I don't own a car. I don't own a house. I don't own any appliances or any clothes. Yeah, there will be no private property, they hope, they say, by 2030. Is that you, Karl Marx? The media is calling us crazy for being concerned about this. Now, this might work in some countries where you've never had private property, but we are a country that is based on individuals, individual freedom, and the entrepreneurial spirit of, I want to build something myself. Now, surely that article was from 4 years ago, so they don't still believe that communist bullcrap, do they? Well, let's look at something more current. Here's a video from a couple of months ago. Watch. It's an end of all private property. Now, you could say that they are just saying that because that's the way the world is going. Yes, it is. But there have been deep, deep thinkers that have written article after article about what does that mean to Americans? How will that change the fundamental principles of America? We may indeed go that way because it's easier, but that's not what this is. This is a shove into that system without allowing you the opportunity to talk about what does that mean. You'll rent everything. You'll own nothing. Will you be happy? I don't know. Sounds like when Grandpa used to say, you know, and I used to walk up the hill in the snow both ways to school, and I had wooden legs and only half my fingers, and we liked it. No, you didn't, Grandpa. And none of us are going to have to, like zero possessions, renting everything from some big amalgamated corporate/government overlord and entity. Let me go back to that BBC article, that hit piece, calling all of this a conspiracy. Quote, so too is the notion that the World Economic Forum has the authority to tell other countries what to do, or that it's coordinating a secret cabal of world leaders. Okay, BBC. That's not what we said. I'm not going to even attempt to prove that they're just going to take over the world. That's not the plan. But if I could prove that influential leaders are working in concert with the World Economic Forum and the UN, and many of your leaders are there, and our leaders are there, and giant corporations are involved, will the BBC and the other outlets retract this angle of attack? Even bigger, I wonder what you would say if I could prove that very top members of Joe Biden's cabinet are actually part of this, not just like selling it. They believe in it. They're knee deep or neck deep in it. Now, could I prove that? This morning when I was on radio, forgetting how much the world has changed already, I promised that this show would be up in full on YouTube and Facebook. Then we met with our attorneys and all of the people that are working literally their whole day, trying to carve out a way to where we can communicate with you on social media. This message is for you right now. If you've been watching me talk about the warnings of this, facts don't matter anymore. To these companies, for instance, let me ask you this. Bring this up on the screen, will you? This is something that I saw a listener on Instagram post. Free videos, free minds, PragerU. PragerU. It's not controversial. Oh, it is now. Before you like this page, when you like a page, you'll get updates from your newsfeed. You might want to review PragerU to see the types of content it usually shares. Are you sure that you want to like it? Because you might be tracked now if you are put into a list of people that are crazy enough to like that. PragerU, if I went to the Daily Beast online and I wanted to like their page, would it tell me that the Daily Beast, you might want to review the types of content? No. A show note. Any posts that we have put up, any videos, even just videos of me playing a clip of a press conference with no opinion, or interviewing someone while even pushing back, interviewing somebody who's saying, yeah, there's massive fraud. Well, can you show me the evidence of it? Any of those videos are being suppressed. I myself being suppressed, and the Blaze.com, Blaze TV. We are losing our connection to you, the people who want our information and have liked our page, because facts no longer matter. Questioning will not happen. You just must do. As I will show you from the words of one of the most important guys in the next Biden administration or cabinet, they are isolating and destroying anyone who stands in the way of this. I will show you the quote in his own words. It's hair-raising. But because facts don't matter, and dare I believe that I didn't say anything too crazy for Facebook or YouTube that people just can't handle, we're going to continue the rest of this show exclusively on Blaze TV. And we're going to do it because, quite honestly, we can no longer afford to have our voice isolated any more than they have isolated it in the last 4 weeks. We need to reach our audience at least for a limited matter of time. I've told you in the past few months that voices like mine, like Steven Crowder, Mark Levin, Dave Rubin, they will be silenced. That time is now. And the new administration hasn't even started yet. Please find us and join us and subscribe to Blaze TV. Use the promo code Glenn and you will save $30. We need you to know this information and spread it in your circle of influence, because our circle of influence is being diminished now intentionally. Anyone who will stand up is going to be a target. Are you willing to stand up for freedom, the truth, and facts? I want you to really think about that. And if you still say yes, join me in 60 seconds on Blaze TV, and I will prove these things to you in their own words.